West Texas town, Colorado City in Texas to be specific, has resigned following a pretty awful social media post that has received so much backlash for very obvious reasons. Now, as we had shared with you in an earlier show, Texas, along with several other states, are dealing with frigid temperatures. Texas is really dealing with the brunt of this winter storm because of the uniquely terrible position the state has been in when it comes to its power grid. There have been rolling blackouts as a result of that. People have been left in the cold without power to heat themselves. It's been a complete and utter disaster. And so understandably, there have been constituents, there have been people who have been reaching out to their local politicians, hoping that they would get some assistance. But Tim Boyd, now the former mayor of Colorado City in Texas, is not too happy about that. He doesn't think that you should reach out for any type of help from your elected leaders. Let me give you just some excerpts from the post that has since been deleted. He writes, "No one owes you or your family anything, nor is it the local government's responsibility to support you during trying times like this. Sink or swim, it's your choice. The city and county, along with power providers or any other service, owes you nothing." There's more. Let me remind you all that more than 4 million Texans have been left without power in the state. And Texas really prides itself on ensuring that their utilities are privatized. They believe in market competition. And what's the argument that we usually hear, John, from people who argue that free market capitalism is the absolute best? Well, I mean, you get what you pay for. You get the best service, right? Sorry, I'm answering the question that I asked you, but go ahead.
Mostly what you had said.
No, but seriously.
Yeah, that it's supposed to produce the best outcomes and natural incentives, blah, blah, invisible hand, yeah.
Yeah, but these power companies, they owe you nothing. I mean, they expect you to pay for the service, but they owe you nothing. So let me give you more from what he had posted. If you don't have electricity, you step up and come up with a game plan to keep your family warm and safe. If you have no water, you deal without, and think outside the box to survive and supply water to your family. Only the strong will survive and the weak will perish.
I feel like he wants people to break into his house and steal his stuff. Like if he has what are you gonna do? You're gonna complain? We're thinking outside of the box here, buddy. You got a problem with me? Huh? Should I unrope you? Well, survival of the fittest and all that. Yeah, so so you don't want a government, you act like you don't want a society. What do you want exactly? You want anarchy, and yet you ran for mayor, so that doesn't really seem consistent. I get that there are people who are so antisocial that they might think something like that. Usually it's as a result of you being privileged to not be one of the houses that lost power, and you just assume something about you naturally makes you better. I do not understand a politician posting it. They must have thought, well, I guess, Trump, Marjorie Greene, anything goes, just say what you think. Maybe there are actually limits though.
Yeah, limits when people are desperate and seeking help from their elected politicians. And I know this is a local politician. And when you get this kind of response, I mean, look, I get that there are conservatives, certainly conservatives in Texas, who believe in small government. But I would venture to say that even those small government Republicans are understanding of the fact that what Texas is experiencing right now is exactly what government is supposed to take charge of and provide services in order to protect people so they don't die, right? Like the whole point of the government is to be able to protect its people. And that's not what this government's doing, that's for sure. Yeah. That's not what this mayor had any interest in doing. I don't know why he had any interest in being mayor. I mean, I think that should probably be looked into.
Salary, maybe? I don't know. I know, so someone in the chat, in the Twitch chat was like, this is like Mad Max. And I get it, like, sink or swim, survival of the fittest and all that. But the thing is that even in Mad Max, Morton Joe does give some water, like he gives handouts. This guy's meaner than the dictatorial post-apocalyptic leaders of Mad Max.
I mean, speaking of handouts, he mentioned that specifically, writing, bottom line, quit crying and looking for a handout. Get your asses and take care of your own family. It's so callous and so disgusting. And he claims that he had posted that as a private citizen because he allegedly had resigned prior to posting that. I'm not really sure I believe him, to be honest. He says he resigned on February 12th. And he partly doesn't even regret. Yeah, exactly. And the city's website, by the way, also still had him listed as a mayor because guess what? He was still the mayor. My guess is this post received so much backlash that he agreed to resign. And he did also, he took down the post and then he posted something else. And you would think maybe he had originally posted when he was in the heat of the moment. He's frustrated, he's getting contacted by so many people. It's just out of his hands, he doesn't know what to do. Maybe he had a lapse in judgment. I know I'm giving him too much of the benefit of the doubt. I'm not even buying it, right? But he didn't even really apologize. The post that he put up later was this: I won't deny for 1 minute what I said in my post this morning. I was speaking as a citizen as I am not the mayor anymore. I apologize for the wording and ask that you please not harass myself or my family anymore. And what he's referring to regarding his family is the fact that his wife jumped in to defend him. And then I guess people were also, not so complimentary toward his wife. In fact, according to him, his wife also lost her job as a result of her own input in this. That's what he's claiming in the new post that he put up. And he also says this: I admit there are things that are said all the time that I don't agree with, but I would never harass you or your family to the point that they could lose their livelihood, such as a form of income. No, I mean, you maybe wouldn't harass people, but you certainly would neglect people to the point where they could potentially lose their lives in the middle of a winter storm where their power has been shut off and they don't have access to water. That makes you a pretty bad person.
Yeah, and I guess it's whether it's true or not that he resigned, and it almost certainly isn't that he had already resigned. This is still what you think. Is it better in some way that a private citizen who apparently is weathering the storm okay, thinks that everyone else who wants aid should stop complaining? I guess it's less of a crisis because you can't have your leader doing that, although that is apparently who he was when he was the leader. And should he seek political office in the future, this is what he thinks about the role of government and its relationship with the citizenry. Don't harass his family, I guess. I don't know. If I had any more advice to him, I would say, bottom line, dude, quit crying and looking for a social media handout. Get off your asses and take care of your own family. No, but see, we don't actually think that. This is how he thinks about the world. We want you to join us in society, which is a much nicer place to live.
Yeah, and I mean, even one of our members had commented about what's going on in Texas right now is pretty awful. And this member had remembered the fact that Texas had sent California rakes when we were dealing with some pretty severe wildfires. And it was a way to kind of rub the fact that we were suffering in our faces, which is a pretty horrendous and hideous thing to do. And so, the suggestion is to mock Texas for having such an awful power grid and in overwhelmingly privatized system that has only hurt the residents of Texas right now. And I made this argument about we want to be better than that. We want to see people in this country as people, regardless of their political beliefs. We don't want people to suffer. There's all sorts of innocent people suffering in Texas right now, and it's not right. But little did I know that Texas had its own politicians that wanted to see their own people suffer. That's what we're dealing with in this country. I mean, it's not just in a federal level of government. I mean, even with a hyper local politician, such as a mayor of a town of 4,000 people, he just decides to openly, transparently give his own constituents the middle finger and he has no remorse. He's completely unapologetic about it. In fact, he ended up making himself out to be some sort of victim because of his wife allegedly losing her job after she had engaged in the same commentary, basically. So it's pretty devastating. I'm glad that he stepped down. He has no business representing anyone because he doesn't care about the best interests of anyone other than himself and his family. And that's not the type of person who should be a politician or any kind of representative in government.
Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.